Life Luker's channel, 88. How you doing, baby? How you doing? I like your channel. I don't always agree with everything, but you do have a lot of interesting topics, and I do agree with many of the things you say on any celebrities. And you talk about Rick James and how psychotic and Rick James was. And I'm not trying to bash because he was a good singer, but he did do evil things. And he did change his life around, and then he ended up dead. He actually died around my 25th birthday. It was in August 2004. Yeah, I'm my 40s now. And I was in Job Corps when he died. So you talk about the dark energy of this man, Rick James. Um, and to be told, before I knew a lot of the dark stuff that he did, I wanted to play him. I'm about camel skin like him. Um, I was gonna put the weave, the braids in the hair, perm the hair, and all that stuff to play him, but I couldn't. I don't. I have asthma, so I can't smoke. They give me those fake cigarettes. Okay, so when he's smoking crack and all that. Okay, I never done drugs in my life. Okay, so anyway, let's get to subject. Okay, so you mentioned the beatings, him meeting Jay Serene. Jay Serene was the hairstylist to Sammy Davis Jr. Okay, and Sammy Davis Jr. how he got introduced to the Church of Satan. He was married to a white woman, and the white woman him broke up because not because of racial tension between the relationship. They broke up because Lord Falana, when he was training Lord Falana, um, he had sex with Lord Falana. Lord Falana also went to all my Hispanic Latino people know this. Both Sammy Davis Jr. and Lord Falana were part Hispanic, part Latino. Lord Falana's dad was Cuban American. Falana's a Spanish last name. Um, Sammy Davis Jr.'s mother was Cuban American, Hispanic Latina as well. Her name was Elvira Sanchez Davis. Okay, so both of them were part African American and part Hispanic. So I kind of see that him having a racial tension from the crowd, married this white woman from Sweden, right? Was she Swedish? Okay. And they became Jewish later on, and the relationship didn't work out because he was training Lord Falana, and it reminded him of his roots being African American and Hispanic because Lord Falana was also part Hispanic too. So, and besides African American people, I have to remind people that hey, Lord Falana was part Latina, she's part Cuban, and Lord Falana's a Spanish last name. Okay, weird. Anyway, reason before she became Catholic, okay. She was born Methodist and she was a dancer in Las Vegas, all about La Fana. But she slept with Sammy, and they broke the relationship up with him and his white wife. He went to big depression. He started doing drugs and pornography. And while in his broken time, Jay Sabrine, who's also Rick James' friend, who died in with Sharon Tate in the murder of Charles Manson, he introduced Sammy Davis Jr. to what's his name to Church of Saint to Tom LaVey and Jay Sabrine, okay, and it's a picture of Tom LaVey and Michael Aquino, who was friends with George Bush, who was Satanic Coven, the Church of Satan set together, okay. So anyway, so when you're talking about the dark energy, how the man was being abusive, talking about him doing drugs, which is for Makaya, for pharmacy sorcery, using drugs to just be under a spell. When you're talking about that, you forget that I think you mentioned in the video that Rick James and his girlfriend at the time was supposed to go to that party with Sharon Tate. For Rosemary's Baby, Roman Polanski, I kind of question is that's what Nicki Minaj be saying that she's Roman Polanski, a female version, okay, and she acting evil Roman Revenge. She did an anti-Catholic blasphemy performance back in 2012 after Whitney Houston had died. Everybody say that it was about Whitney Houston's death, okay? And we know Clive Davis, Santana, all that stuff. Anyway, so when you're talking about Jason being friends with Rick James, you need to also mention Sammy Davis Jr. That's who injured. That's when that movie came out, 1972 or 73, during Valentine's season, and they said that movie that was canceled off of NBC because he complained that was his movie talking about Sammy Davis Jr. where he's trying to introduce people to the Church of Satan. And I know that Sammy Davis Jr. was a Satanist because his daughter came out and said, I think it's from the Jewish woman, there was a white woman from Sweden, that that he used to wear red paint on his pinky, like paint his finger red on his pinky, and there was a sign saying you have red pinky. A man wearing a red polish on his pinky was a Satanist. So I put you on my YouTube feed that showed the video party time with Whitney Houston's ex-boyfriend, Eddie Murphy. And I do believe that's why she left Eddie Murphy, because he was a Satanist. I heard that he was bisexual. Well, she was bisexual too. You know, she was with Robin Crawford. But I do believe that was the reason why she probably ran to Bobby Brown, because she saw that she's a church girl and she saw that Eddie Murphy probably do some questionable things, satanic things, in my opinion. So in the end of the video part time, he throws the 66 sign, you know, it's like an okay sign, but it's a 66 sign. That you see Sexy Red does this, Beyonce does this, and then the devil horn signs. And I'm from Houston, people. Oh, it means H-Town. No, it doesn't. Go to the former Saint Zachary King's YouTube channel. He'll tell you those signs are satanic. And even when doing a rock and roll era, with the metal bands, since I was into Satanism, they would amp the crowd up by throwing devil signs, devil horn signs, the horn. Yeah. So when those two showing the 66 sign, the OK sign, that's Eddie Murphy, and Rick James throwing the devil horn signs. And shout out to the brother that warned Zach TV. Remember Zach TV ended up dead about Kenny Jenkins? He said, why did Rick James wore the lecture, we call it the lightning sign? A lot of people in Satanism wear a lightning strike sign on them. You see it with Kiss and all the other rock stars. So so he was wearing the lightning bolt signs. So yeah, Rick James was into Satanism allegedly. I do believe he was. And in the part of the time he's singing with Eddie Murphy, why are they throwing up in the end of the video? They throwing up devil signs. Eddie Murphy showing the 66 OK sign, and this one doing and Rick James throwing up the devil signs. And you see it when you watch Beyonce Houston Rockets, when she did a song with Lady Gaga, a video, your video phone, yeah, and she thought those, yeah, okay. So just let you know, these people don't understand. This is something they normalize satanic hand signals. You know what I'm saying? And I used to tell people, stop throwing. I can't tell grown people about warning. Stop throwing them devil signs. When you throw those horns, and I'm from Houston. I always thought this for H-Town. No, it ain't about no damn H-Town. It's about Satanism. It originated from the rock bands who into Satanism. Not all of them were, to amp the crowd up, to get the crowd acting fool by putting a spell on the crowd and acting fool by their concerts. Like, y'all need to stop. So that Rick James was doing that too. He was getting high on that marijuana. He loved that Mary Jane. Okay. You get high on that Mary Jane. You get mad. That's right. And get high on crack cocaine. And get high and do all of it. And trapping women and beating them. Remember, him and that light-skinned sister he was going with. Was she part Hispanic or black? She racial biggest. She was Rick James' girlfriend and wife later on. And that white woman said on Geraldo, don't forget back in the 90s, that she was kidnapped by Rick James and beaten Yeah, they were doing. He was into a trance. That man was into Satanism, and that's what they do down there in California and in Hollywood. And like I said, he almost ended up dead. With him and his girlfriend, not the bike skin, she's younger at the time, but the other girlfriend before him and what's her name, Tina Marie, and he did Lena Blair from the Exorcist show did. Before all them, he was with some chick. They got high on drugs and they got OD'd. And when they OD on drugs, they was too sick to go to the party. They went to a party with Cheryl Tate and Jason Spring. They'll end up dead. Charles Manson was the same too. It's a book called Program to Kill by Dave McGowan. It talks about that too, about Charles Manson, about David Sabrina. It talks about Jim Jones, all that. The Candyman here in Houston. I'm talking about Dean Coral. It talks about lies, Jan Wayne. It talks about lies. Richard Ramirez, all that. The program killed by David. I know he passed away. I upload when I had my laptop upload his book. I mean, he exposed a lot of stuff. Like they said, that Jeffrey Dahmer was back in '79 when I was born. Jeffrey Dahmer was in Satanism. Yes, he was. He summoned demons in his spirit. That's why years later he did all those crimes to those men and those boys, especially those of color. Okay. Um, yeah, and so that just let you know that if you do that series on Rick James, you need to also expose that part of the time video when they throwing up devil signs, him and Eddie Murphy. And I'm sorry, I do believe that Whitney Houston left Eddie Murphy because that and went to Barbara Brown, not only because of racial issue, because Barbara Brown's darker than Whitney Houston, and they was calling her white girl because she was into pop music and stuff like that. Now at the Social Music Award and booing her, not only that reason why, it's because she's trying to leave. Eddie Murphy was not a lawyer. Now I'm a Leo, just like Whitney Houston, God rest her soul. And if you're not loyal to us, we don't want to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? But she kept being alone and not being around other men. You know, of course, she had a relationship with a woman, talking about Robin Crawford, but Whitney Houston was in love with Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy told her that it was a mistake for her to marry Bobby. Well, you were too into that Santana mess. You know, Whitney Houston was from East Orange. She didn't play. She had a little gangster side. I know people from New Jersey, they say Whitney Houston had a little gangster side to her, but she was a church girl. She not messing with that Bachman Santana mess. That's why she left Eddie Murphy. I believe that. When she probably went and saw this man into that dark mess, that dark energy, woo, it scared the hell out of Whitney. I mean, the cuss of it. I believe that. She said, I ain't mess with you no more. You know what I'm saying? They said well, he would mess with men too, but she can't talk because she mess with women as well. When she would mess with Robin Crawford. Okay, I ain't bashing Whitney. I love Miss Whitney Houston, got her soul, but hey, if he mess with a dude, she mess with a woman, and she a woman, he a man, you can't make that, come on. You know what I'm saying? Y'all both guilty, okay? So, now I believe that because she saw that demonic stuff. She said, She said, we ain't, no, I ain't into this stuff. No, Eddie Murphy, I ain't into this demonic stuff. No, you better get away from me. Oh, no, I see why you want to hang around me. I'm glad. Thank the Lord. Let me go find somebody else. Anyway, let me go in and let y'all go. Bye.